Welcome, everyone. Oh my God, we're back.
It's been a while.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 8th episode of the Squared Circle podcast. This week featuring me, Alex, and
Christina. Hi. Unfortunately, Brad couldn't make it due to some unforeseen circumstances. So shout out to Brad Harris. Woo woo. We'll hopefully have him back soon on our 9th edition of the podcast. So we've got a lot to talk about. We're gonna try to fly through as many of these topics because a lot's gone down since episode 7. And there is, stay tuned everybody, a special announcement at the end of this podcast, just in terms of where we're going with the podcast and what we'd like to see for the future.
All right, sounds good. So where should we start from, Christina? How about where we left off, which was on May 22nd, which happened to be the night that Seth Rollins ended up returning.
Yay! So anyone that was watching that pay-per-view, or probably anyone on the planet Earth, would have heard me screaming and crying because the man, Seth Rollins, finally returned after his injury. He returned actually in pretty good time. Considering the severity of his injury, he really worked hard on being back. And it was glorious, just beautiful.
Well, I think the thing with his return that was so good was that it happened right after Roman beat AJ again on pay-per-view for the title with the Usos and the club and everybody. So then everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe Roman won again. And then Seth returning saved basically the end of that pay-per-view.
It did. It was awesome. And then he cut this brilliant promo on Raw, just saying like, oh, you guys were all cheering for me. Where were you when I was hurt? You weren't there. And he, you know, as he came back as a babyface, he was still playing the heel card, which actually made it more intriguing. He didn't just play into the babyface hand. And actually, I think that made people, happier with his return in the long run, because it wasn't like the obvious choice in terms of what he was going to do as a character. So very, very, very happy to have seen him return, especially after beating AJ, because no one should ever be able to beat AJ, ever.
Okay, so basically Seth comes back, and then obviously quite a long time has gone by since then. But one of the major things that happened was at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, he defeated Roman Reigns and won the title. Meanwhile, earlier in the show, Dean Ambrose won the Money in the Bank, and as promised, Dean Ambrose comes out after Seth won and cashes in Money in the Bank, and
he beat him! And it was awesome. So, because You know, you're so behind Seth and winning and everything, but you're still really happy that Dean also won Money in the Bank, and you're waiting the whole night for it to happen, and then his music hits and he comes out and cashes in and wins. What a beautiful segment with those three. Like, just a Shield little something, like some flavor of the Shield throughout the night. You kept considering it as an option, and then it happened, and it was really well done. That was really exciting, because I, as much as I love Seth, also really love Dean, so I was happy with either of them as long as it wasn't Roman winning that night.
Well, yeah, the cool thing about that night was that each member of the Shield held the WWE title in the same night, which was pretty crazy. Roman had it, and then Seth beat him, and then Dean beat Seth, so they all, you know, just passed around like hot potato in one night, which is interesting.
It was interesting, and it's funny too, because for Dean to be the one to walk out with the belt versus, you know, the other two that have been obviously pushed, and you know, nobody can beat Roman, and Seth held the belt until his injury and everything. So it was really neat to see like the underdog almost of the Shield walking out with the belt that night.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Dean wins the belt, and then, you know, we get the defenses and everything. But I guess, you know, trying to catch us up to date, basically the next major thing that happened in that time was the draft in July. So I thought maybe we could just quickly go through the list of who's on what show. I mean, obviously people have probably been watching, but for any of those that weren't aware, I'll just quickly go through um, what's happening. So on Raw, we have Mick Foley as a GM, Stephanie McMahon commissioner, and then here's the roster. So we have on Raw Seth Rollins, Charlotte, Finn Balor from NXT, so that was his debut. Roman, Brock Lesnar, The New Day, Sami Zayn, Sasha Banks, Chris Jericho, Rusev and Lana, Kevin Owens, Big Cass and Enzo, Gallows and Anderson, Big Show, who hasn't, I don't even think made an appearance yet. Nia Jax, that's a new call up. Neville, who hasn't done anything. Cesaro, Sheamus, Golden Truth, so Goldust and R-Truth. Titus O'Neil, Paige, who, anyways, let's. Yeah,
We'll talk about that
I don't
later.
even know if it is even worth talking about Paige. Darren Young, Sin Cara, Jack Swagger, but now he's on SmackDown. The Dudley Boys, but they're gone. Summer Rae, I don't think she's been on. I think she's injured. Mark Henry, Braun Strowman, Bo Dallas, The Shining Stars, Alicia Fox, Dana Brooks, and Curtis Axel. And then on SmackDown, Dan O'Brien is the GM, Shane McMahon, commissioner. Then we have Dean Ambrose, who was the champ, AJ Styles, John Cena, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Becky Lynch, The Miz and Maurice, Baron Corbin, American Alpha, so that's a call up. Dolph Ziggler, Natalia, Del Rio, but he's gone. The Usos, Kane, Kalisto, Naomi, The Ascension, Zack Ryder, Apollo Crews, Alexa Bliss, another call up. Breeze Dango, Eva Marie, Vaudevillains, Eric Rowan, Mojo Rawley, another call up, and Carmella, who's another call up. So, what did you think when they did the draft about what roster you think was the strongest or the most interesting? Or
I thought that first of all, the draft was well overdue. It needed to be done. The storylines were boring and just repeating constantly week after week. So for them to split the brand has really given light to some people that weren't getting any time whatsoever. So I think that in general was a great idea. In terms of the stronger roster, you had key players under both shows. I think that there was a little bit more of a push to keep more of the bigger names on Raw, probably just because it's a 3-hour show. So they need to fill it with more people that, are name draws. But the women's division for SmackDown is heads and tails better than what it is on Raw. I mean, obviously you've got your strong players on Raw between Charlotte and Sasha Banks, but there's really nobody else. Like Nia Jax, she's doing her whole beating up somebody new every week, that kind of thing, but she's not in the card yet for the belt, so I don't consider her like part of that division the same way that like Alexa Bliss and Naomi and Nikki and Carmella and everybody are all kind of in the mix and really kind of playing off of each other on SmackDown. What do you think?
yeah, for the women's division, I mean, yeah, like you said, it on Raw. Basically, it's been Charlotte and Sasha the whole time. Um, Nia Jax, she's not even in that mix yet. She's new, but all she's done is been Sasha's friend and fighting. Now she's fighting Dana Brooke, but she hasn't really, added herself in the mix, I don't think, as much as people would have hoped. But maybe they're saving that for another time. Um, but on SmackDown, they have 6 divas, I believe, or 7 with Eva Marie, but she's doing a movie or something.
Does she count?
Yeah, are you kidding? She's the greatest. um, but they get fresh matches, usually every week or some sort of, they'll mix it up and have tag matches and break those up into singles matches later on, and Alexa Bliss is getting a title shot, so that's something new. They could have just done like Natalia and Becky forever, like they're doing Sasha and Charlotte. But I like the women's division on SmackDown. It seems more fun. Raw seems like too serious. I'm the best. I'm whatever. Where SmackDown, it's like, I don't know.
Well,
Even
they're
like say
getting
Carmella and Nikki, that's not a title feud, but I think it's a fun feud.
it's good because it's you don't know what to expect every week because they keep changing it up. It's not the same match every week until the pay-per-view, and then it continues on afterwards. Like, the whole Carmella and Nikki thing, she was just attacking her during random matches. A side note, Carmella's heel turn was probably the best decision that WWE's ever made. Because she wasn't getting any reaction as a babyface, and they just decided, you know what, we're going to turn her heel, have her attack Nikki, and it's worked out beautifully for her. I think that was a really good idea.
Yep.
But it's just, you don't know what to expect. Like, Naomi's winning matches. Alexa Bliss is in the title picture, and she's amazing, by the way. Just her little character is fantastic. She plays it so well. But, you know what to expect out of Raw. Charlotte's going to come out. She's going to say that she's the best. She's going to woo the crowd. Sasha's going to come out, say that she's the boss. I don't know why she's the boss right now. And that's...
I mean, right now she's the champion, but...
She is the champion, but
from before.
But, I mean, she just doesn't have the same... She had, like, a potency when she was in NXT. Like, there was something about her. She just doesn't have that. So I don't know if it's because she's a babyface and she needs a heel turn, but Charlotte's a good heel, so they don't know what to do. So they're trying to make her a babyface when I think she's more of a natural heel. I don't know what it is, but something needs... If they're going to keep with this feud forever, then they need to change something up somehow to make it fresh, because at this point...
It's almost like Sasha's character is that she's over.
Right.
Like...
Yeah, because she's over, then that's all she needs.
Like, she comes out and says, I'm the best because I'm over, basically. Like, being the boss must mean, like, being over, because she always gets cheered no matter what she does. But she hasn't actually done anything as her character. Like, who is she the boss of? Like, exactly. I don't get it.
Exactly. So... Not
anything against her. Obviously, she's...
No, I mean,
great,
we like her, but we just... I don't know. There's not enough character development for her right now. And if you didn't watch NXT, then you have no idea why she's calling herself the boss. That's the problem.
Like, say Sasha says she's the boss. Nobody knows what that means. It means nothing. But Charlotte says she's the best because she's genetically superior, which makes perfect sense. Her dad is Ric Flair.
Exactly.
What else do you need to say?
Exactly.
That speaks for itself. With Sasha, I think they need to, go deeper into, like, who exactly is she? And why is she like this? And why is she, what's her character?
Exactly. Like, they did it with Finn. They went, who is the demon? What does the demon mean?
Oh, yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Do
that with her. Like, just take her character and go from the beginning, from NXT, and show the evolution and show why she's the boss. Like, if they did that, because the Finn one was done so well, like, you understood exactly what it meant when he comes out on a big time event like that. So why are we not using the same directive or motive for the women? Like, come on, like, it's easy to do. You have the footage, obviously. Like, get it together.
Speaking of Finn, it's funny when the one Raw, after they had Finn do that video, like, showing who the demon is and the history in Ireland and all that stuff, or whatever, and then the next week Seth was like, or I don't know if it was the same night, I can't remember, and Seth was like, okay, I'm going to call out the demon, and then as he's like, okay, demon, where are you? And then suddenly this, like, fan runs in the ring, and then Seth just, like, steps back and just is looking at him, and the security and, like, the refs take him out and stuff, and he's like a little idiot, right? And then Seth's like, is that the demon? And he just starts doing his, like, Seth laugh or whatever, like the ha 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 and all that stuff. And I was dying just laughing. And then obviously, like, they had Finn come out in the demon on Raw before he ever even fought, which I thought was not a good decision, but...
No, he needs to keep the demon for pay-per-views, like big-time event matches. That's what he needs. But it's funny because during that time, I think there was like 3 or 4 fan incidents, like within like a couple weeks. Because there was one with Dean Ambrose too. Maybe it was like the following week or something where a fan ran out. So, like, fans, stop doing that. You're going to get yourself banned, and you're never going to be able to go to any, events again. Just stop.
Mm-hmm. So after the draft, the big pay-per-view that kind of separated, I guess, the rosters was SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So at SummerSlam, the big matches were Seth and Finn to determine who the first ever Universal Champion would be. So, well, unfortunately for Finn, during the match, he got injured by Seth because Bret Hart says so. Bret Hart just hates Seth and says that Seth injures everybody. So then, so Finn won the match. And to be honest, I didn't even notice that he was hurt. That's how well he played it. Like, he was using his arms and everything.
He definitely, I don't know if it was that he was just in adrenaline mode, so he didn't feel how bad of an injury he actually had. But unfortunately, once, the match was done and everything started to wear off and he went and got his tests done and MRIs and everything, they realized that the injury was much worse than what they'd originally thought. And he actually had to forfeit the title, which was heartbreaking. Just seeing, his posts and his videos and stuff about what that felt like and what that was like, that was really tough.
Yeah. So that was unfortunate. And they're saying they're hoping he'll be back for Mania, but I think that's like a red herring or whatever. I think he'll be back at the Rumble.
I think that's what's going to happen. Too.
They're just going to plant those rumors so people don't expect it. But I'm pretty sure he'll be back at the Rumble.
Let's hope. Awesome. I don't know how they're going to do the Rumble with the split. Like, is everyone going to just be in there and whoever wins, it's whichever title, or are they going to do 2 Rumbles?
No, they'll do it like it was before. They'll have the winner will choose which title he wants, probably. And then they'll have some other sort of qualifying whatever match at maybe the pay-per-view in between. I don't know if it's going to be Roadblock or what the name is. Can't think of it on top of my head. And then someone from, say a Raw guy wins a Rumble, then on SmackDown they'll determine a number 1 contender for the belt that'll challenge at WrestleMania. So, Randy won this 6-man match. He's going to fight AJ at Mania, which would be amazing. But
that would be amazing.
Except Brad hates Randy
Orton. Much better than the main event of SummerSlam, which was Brock Lesnar against Randy Orton, which I hated.
Oh my god.
I hated
I blocked that out of my memory.
I thought that was the worst thing I've ever seen. Brock comes off of his whole UFC fight, which was like laced with scandal, obviously, with the whole drug testing thing. And then he just pretty much makes Randy bleed until they cut the match off. I thought it was horrible. I don't think that that's the kind of match that Brock needs. I don't think that that's what Randy needs to be doing to put people over. I think Brock's over enough on his own without needing to completely pummel, a multi-world champion, and somebody with the, caliber
a 12-time champion?
Yes, 12 times. Well, that's what I mean. Like, he's won so many, like, multiple belts. And he doesn't need to go down to that level in terms of just being beaten bloody senseless to end the pay-per-view. I thought that was ridiculous, and I hope they never do that again. It's honestly, if they're going to just use Brock for that, then don't bother using him at all. Just let him wear out his contract and go back to UFC.
It honestly doesn't help anyone because he leaves right after. So what's the point in building him when he's just going to leave? You know what I mean? Like, he's getting... Yeah, no, sorry, let me say that again. Other people are putting him over, and then he leaves, and they stay, and everyone looks at them saying, oh, they just lost to Brock.
Well, the thing is
and they have to try and build them back up.
Exactly.
Whereas he's sitting at home.
Sitting on his...
Smiling because he just went over Randy Orton.
Because he never loses. And the thing is, if you're trying to be UFC, then just be UFC. If you're trying to be WWE and you're a wrestling company and an entertainment company, then you need to stick to that. We're not watching this bloodbath and thinking that that's, I actually thought, which was unfortunate, that I actually had this kind of hope that it would actually be a good match. Like, it wouldn't just be a throwaway match like all of other Brock matches. They would actually be able to have a decent
like the one
wrestling...
with Dean?
Yes.
At Mania?
The one at Dean with Mania was just as ridiculous. And, like him giving Cena 16 German suplexes. Ridiculous. Randy is one of those people that can have a match with anybody. And I think that they had an opportunity to showcase that in order to show that, like Brock can actually wrestle and it's not just German suplexes and clobbering somebody, but they destroyed it. And honestly, it made me really not a big Lesnar fan at this point. I'm really not interested in anything he does right now.
They need to just reboot him. Like, they need to get away from the Suplex City version of Brock, and they need to go back to the wrestling version, the guy that actually does moves and
when
and
he would like break
submissions.
people's arms and and he would do the Kimura lock and like all these cool things, and
Like,
he's not doing any of that right now.
Take them, if you remember the match he had with Cena when he first came back.
Yeah.
At was it Extreme Rules in like 2012
I think it might
or
have
something?
been Extreme Rules.
Anyways, he was like, they found the perfect balance of, I'm a UFC guy, I'll kill you, but at the same time I used to be a pro wrestler. So he was doing submissions, doing high risk maneuvers, like jumping over the top ropes and all this crazy stuff. And but then at the same time pummeling and everything. I mean, obviously he lost the match, which was the worst booking ever.
Mm-hmm.
But that match was very exciting to watch, no matter who won. And now every match, it's just 12 suplexes, some hammer fists, an F5. And that's basically it.
Even like WrestleMania, when he and Roman Reigns had their match, they actually had a match. It was good. Like, it was much better than I thought it was going to be. Obviously, the best ending of all time with Seth running down and cashing in. However, that aside, their actual match was a match. So that's more of what I was expecting with him and Randy. I was not expecting that. That was just...
Everybody was looking forward to F5 reverse into an RKO. They didn't even do that. They did that at a house show in Chicago that everybody watched on YouTube, if you cared enough. And not on the pay-per-view that people are spending money on or buying subscriptions for to watch. So it's like, people are paying to watch nothing.
Exactly.
And going on YouTube to watch everything. So what's the point? I don't know. They need to just rethink Brock. And they can't be like, oh, every week, Brock Lesnar will be on next week. And then he comes out, stands in the ring, hops around, smiles, gets jacked up, while Heyman talks for 20 minutes, which there's nothing wrong with a Heyman promo. But at the same time, why is Brock there? They could have a picture of him on the Titantron and Heyman in the ring talking, and it would be the exact same thing.
It's honestly like, I know he's a part-time wrestler. I know that they've got this like lucrative deal with him and he's a name draw and everything, but for the dedicated fan, it's getting boring. It really is. I agree. They need to change something up, whether it's that he turns on Heyman, whether something's got to change, because at this point it's very stale and annoying. What else? There was a good women's match at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Charlotte and versus Sasha versus Becky.
No. The one at SummerSlam was Charlotte and Sasha.
Which one was the three of them?
At WrestleMania.
Oh, why did I think that they had another one? I thought
they didn't. They only had one.
Oh, my bad. I'm going backwards in time.
She's going way back. I mean, we weren't... I'm pretty sure we did a podcast after WrestleMania, so I don't think we have to go that back.
That's when she had the feather in her hair, right? Was that WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Oh.
They only did it once. The one at SummerSlam was when Sasha had won the belt on Raw, and then Charlotte pinned her at SummerSlam by, like, reversing the bank statement into the pin.
Oh, yes. I remember
And that was the best thing I said, because Sasha's, besides the fact that she was injured, Sasha's reign was horrible. It was so boring. It was like Dean's.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about Dean's in a minute. But Sasha's reign was so boring. She didn't do anything. She just, I'm the boss, beating up Dana Brooke. So what?
Exactly.
Whereas, I always say, the best champions are heel champions. A good heel. Not a stupid heel like a Sheamus. A good heel like a Triple H, AJ, how he is right now.
Oh, he's perfect.
Seth, I thought, was a good champion. A little too cowardly, but
like that
either way,
yeah.
Heel champions are always great. But
because once the babyface wins, there's nothing else that's exciting. The excitement about a babyface chasing the championship. It's all the obstacles that they have to face to get there. Then once they get there, there's nothing else that's exciting that's left. Like, it's just done.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was actually, as much as I'm not a huge Charlotte fan. Even though I am more of a Charlotte fan now than I was the last podcast, I actually celebrated her victory because I agree. I thought that Sasha's reign was horrible, and it was just tanking the division at that point. It really was.
Yeah. So that was good that she had won. Okay, so now let's fast forward a little bit. So, you know, they have this Universal Championship match, and Finn gets injured. Now they need a new champion. So on, what was it,
Raw.
the first Raw?
No, it was the second
The
because they
second?
had qualifying
Oh yeah,
matches
oh
the
yeah.
first week.
So 2 weeks later, or 2 or 3 weeks later after SummerSlam, they had booked a Fatal 4-Way to determine the new Universal Champion. So that match was consisting of Big Cass, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Roman Reigns.
And it was literally the best segment that's ever happened on Raw. Like, ever.
Segment?
The best Raw ever! It was so good! It was amazing! We recorded it, we posted it on social media, it was just so exciting. It was like pay-per-view quality matches. It was something fresh. There was Big Cass in there, and he lasted longer than I thought he was going to. But he was good in the match. Like, he added a nice dynamic to it. It wasn't stale. Kevin Owens was thrown in there, so it wasn't like your typical group of guys that are going to be in this match, right? Like, you're usually expecting Cena, Reigns, Rollins, and then your pick of whoever the other fourth guy was going to be.
Like
but
a Sheamus.
Sheamus
or
or whoever, And this just like blew it out of the water. Wow, what a match! The drama, the emotion, the shock factor. Oh, it was so good. And then what happened at the end?
Okay, so the last three guys. So Big Cass got eliminated, and then it's Seth, Roman, and Kevin Owens. Roman hits a spear on Seth on the outside, and then out of nowhere, Triple H comes out. It's like, holy crap. Everyone just went crazy. So Triple H just randomly ran in, gives Roman a pedigree, throws him in the ring, picks up Rollins, gives him a little 2-second pep talk, pushes him in the ring. Rollins covers Reigns. 1, 2, 3. Reigns is eliminated. So now everyone's like, oh my god, what's going to happen now? So it's Seth, who appears to be on Triple H's side, and Kevin Owens. So Triple H goes, grabs Kevin Owens, pushes him in the ring. It's kind of like picking him up. Seth starts walking closer. Triple H turns around, hits a pedigree on Seth.
Oh my god.
Everyone just went ballistic.
We were crowd. Like screaming. Screaming. Like it was one of those things where when you're just not expecting it, like when Evolution turned on Randy or when they like beat up Shawn Michaels. Like it was just one of those moments where it hit you right in the face out of nowhere. Amazing.
It was amazing. The crowd was going crazy. We were going crazy. The internet was going crazy. Everybody was going crazy. So hits a pedigree on Seth. Triple H grabs or tells Kevin Owens to cover him. Kevin Owens jumps on. 1, 2, 3. Kevin Owens, Universal Champion. Everybody's really happy. Because it seemed like it was going the Roman way.
It did. Which
usually it does. So that established the champion on Raw. And then the Universal Championship on Raw, and now the WWE Championship on SmackDown. That whole situation basically surrounded 3 people: Cena, Dean, AJ Styles.
I can't even begin to describe. Like, if you think that I love Seth Rollins, that doesn't even hold a candle to AJ Styles. He is, like, his tagline is absolutely true. He is phenomenal. There is no other word for him. He is excellent in the ring. Just absolutely amazing. He can tell a story without saying a word, but his mic skills now that he's turned heel, wow, it's so fun to watch him. He's the best. He's the absolute best. There's nobody that deserved to be champion more than him on that show.
Every match basically that he's had since he debuted in WWE has been fantastic. His matches with Roman were amazing, even though there was a lot of, overbooking and everything. The matches were incredible. The crowd were always excited. Amazing matches, great performances. And then you can't forget his feud with Cena.
Well, he likes to beat up John Cena. That's amazing.
They have 2 matches. One of them was just incredible. Even though he had he cheated to win or whatever. That's just part of his story. But the second one, when he didn't cheat, was even better. Mm-hmm. They had instant classic matches, those two. Cena always, when Cena has a feud with someone that you're excited about, that match usually is always amazing. Except Bray Wyatt, because, Bray Wyatt matches are...
Oh, we should talk about Bray Wyatt in a second.
Bray Wyatt is... Okay. Anyways, Cena and AJ put on amazing matches. Amazing. And it just made AJ such a good heel. Just the way he talks, the way he walks, the way he fights, everything. So, he beats Cena twice. Cena hasn't beat AJ yet, which that's shocking, because usually Cena, he'll trade wins. Mm-hmm. He never wants to be, in
the deficit.
Yeah. It's always going to be like, oh, Rusev will beat him, and then Cena will beat him, and then Cena will beat him 12 more times. It's like, well, Rusev beat him once, but Cena beat him 12 times. AJ's beaten Cena twice, Cena 0. So, right there is amazing. And then, even his matches with Dean were really good. Basically, let's just cut this short. AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose. AJ Styles, the new WWE champion.
So well deserved. So, God, he's amazing. He's so good.
What, 7 months or something since
his debut.
That's pretty quick, if you ask me.
Yeah, because it's been 9 months now. He's been the champion for a couple months now, right?
Yeah.
2 months.
Probably, yeah, about 2 months.
Yeah, no, anything he does right now is gold. It's fantastic.
The match, the No Mercy match. First of all, the No Mercy theme song of that pay-per-view, one of the best music song or theme songs they've used for a pay-per-view in years. To the point where it's like, what is that song? You need to download it. A lot of shows will be like, oh, thanks to some band nobody knows for providing this song, and then it's just noise. You don't even care. This song, amazing. Mm-hmm. Anyways, so they had Cena, AJ, and Dean, the triple threat. But even going into it, do you remember that one segment on Smackdown where they were both, AJ and Dean were belittling Cena and saying anyway, Cena, you're just old and you can't hang with us and all that, and you can't get it done.
He's a part-timer.
He's a part-time. He's a lazy part-timer and all that stuff. Man, even though Cena, he's not even 40. He's almost the same age. I think he is 40 actually, but AJ's a year younger, 2 years younger.
Yeah.
But AJ just has this youthness to him. He does. Even though Cena's young too, but he's just been around so long. And I was actually Cena is that old veteran, that Shawn Michaels-esque guy that he's done so much.
But you can't say that yet because I don't want him to retire.
No, he's not going to retire, but he's definitely slowing down.
Never John Cena, ever.
He's definitely slowing down. He's not full time.
Yeah.
Per se, he works full time, but he's not on SmackDown, say full time.
Right.
But yeah, such a good promo and such a good match.
But their whole promo video for that match, they played it during the Raw pay-per-view, and you're watching this promo for SmackDown, and the whole time during the Raw pay-per-view, all you're thinking is, man, can we just get to SmackDown? I want to see this match. I need to see this whole thing come to light. Just SmackDown. Wow.
I want to say one thing. The shows definitely feel different.
They do.
When you watch Raw over the draft hasn't changed.
Yeah.
It feels like the same show. There's still 80% of the show is jobbers that, the stories aren't getting anywhere. I don't care about Shining Stars and Golden Truth because I know that it's meaningless. Whereas SmackDown, they might have a little bit of that, but by default, it's only 2 hours. So there's less of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like on Raw, if the show is, 3 hours, 15 minutes, there's only about 20 minutes of that show that actually matters. And the other 3 hours are pointless.
Yep.
SmackDown, I feel like the show has more of a purpose. Like, there's a goal.
Everything matters.
It's like, oh, well, because this person beat this person, and so next week, if they beat that person, you know what I mean? Like, it all ties together.
Yeah.
Whereas Raw is just like, oh yeah, Roman's gonna spear Rusev, and oh yeah, Kevin Owens is gonna cheat, and it's like, it's all the same.
Yeah.
It's the same. If I would have told you, if I didn't tell you, say you didn't watch wrestling for a year, and then I told you, oh, watch Raw tonight, you would probably have no idea that there was even a draft, because it's the exact same show.
Yep. Exactly.
SmackDown is completely different. SmackDown used to just be, oh, let's have rematches from Raw. Now it's its own fresh, new thing. A lot of new wrestlers from NXT,
And that's the thing, is that it's fresh. Like, can we just talk about Talking Smack for a second?
Yeah.
Because that is, like, obviously it's an ode to, Talking Dead. That's where they got the idea from. But it's brilliant. It's the things that have happened on Talking Smack after a Smackdown can, like, just The Miz and his incredible performance, yelling at Daniel Bryan and being so passionate about Daniel Bryan and how, like, he calls him a coward and that he doesn't wrestle and everything, and him calling him out is one of the best things I've ever seen Miz do, ever. And he's been in the company like 10 years.
It was crazy because that week I hadn't watched the Talking Smack, and I just remember going on Twitter after SmackDown had finished, and I see just my whole Twitter feed blowing up. Everyone's talking about The Miz. I'm like, what happened? Like, oh my god, The Miz just cut the greatest promo of his life and all this stuff. I'm like, are you kidding? Like, on Talking Smack? So I'm like, okay, I gotta check this out. I think I watched that thing like 4 or 5 times. It was so amazing.
I had goosebumps because he, at some point in that promo, it stopped being a promo. He was so emotionally
it was like a shoot
in what he was saying that there was no way that you walked out of watching that thinking anything but The Miz is honestly amazing.
And he is. He's one of the highlights of all of WWE.
He is. He's and Maurice, I just love her. There's just something about her when she says "Da Miz" and she says, my husband. It's so funny, but it's so cute, and she adds something to him that just makes him better just by being there. And I think that's a nice dynamic. I like that she's just kind of like the valet, and she helps him cheat, and she does all these things. But I really do like them.
She's really, really doing a good job. Better than like Alana. Like Lana, she needs something new. She needs to, I don't know. They kind of had something when she was fighting with Summer, where it was like a new development for her. But I think she's kind of slid back to just, Rusev's my guy, and I'm just whatever. Whereas like Maurice, her facials when something happens. She never messes up. She never skips a beat. She hits her cues perfectly when she has to interfere. She, you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't botch it or anything. And they just have a good chemistry on camera, Miz and Maurice.
They do. And
they're so funny whenever they do, like, they're, like, kissing and all that stuff. Like, it makes your blood boil, but you're laughing at the same time. Because it's just, like, it's such a heel thing to do. Just be like, hold on one second. Just gotta make out with my wife in front of 20,000 people. You know what I mean?
So good.
They're good. They're excellent.
They're good. I like them. They're definitely a highlight. Since we're talking about SmackDown, I guess, do you think that it's the better show?
Well, by default, because it's only 2 hours, I like it a lot. I look forward to it more than watching 3 hours of Raw. But it is a great show. I mean, they always find a way to entertain you, whether it's, the women wrestling, which is always good, AJ Styles and anything he does, basically. James Ellsworth, the greatest jobber of all time.
He is, wow, has he just blown up in terms of popularity. Who would have thought that some skinny, no chin jobber, essentially, that has one throwaway match on Raw, on Raw, just can come back and suddenly he's having world championship matches against AJ Styles. He's got all this, back and forth with Dean Ambrose. Just incredible. Like, this is what makes SmackDown, in my opinion, superior, because they took something and they have just made it their own and run with it. It was awesome.
Like, when they first showed James Ellsworth, who has the greatest catchphrase ever, every man with two hands has a fighting chance. Incredible. He made it up on this, on the spot backstage, I think, before he went on. Anyways, when he first appeared on the screen on SmackDown to be AJ's partner, he got a huge pop. And he only had one appearance, but he went viral.
Yeah.
He went viral.
Yeah.
And his one appearance got him so over that just showing him on the screen, and I don't even know what town they were. Probably not a smart town. Just like a whatever, casual town. And he got a massive pop. Like, are you kidding? That's amazing. And, ever since he's been on, when they announced it was going to be AJ versus James Ellsworth for the title, they might as well say it's at WrestleMania. That's how excited I was to see AJ gets a jobber. Which actually was a good match.
It was.
For what it was.
Yeah, it was.
With the no chin music and
that
everything.
I thought was brilliant. Saying no chin music is like just icing on the cake.
The insults they have for him are so funny. Like the last one, AJ said, James Ellsworth looks like someone took a WWE action figure and put it in the microwave and melted it, and that's James Ellsworth. Like, amazing. Anytime they make fun of the fact that he has no chin, like that, for him to like totally be cool with that is amazing.
Mm-hmm. It's
just so funny, so entertaining.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Whereas like Raw, it's like, okay, here's the storyline. This it is what it is. I'm not gonna lie and say Raw doesn't have something entertaining, because there is one man.
There is one man.
There is one man who is doing one of the best runs in his entire career, by far, in terms of entertainment, and that is none other than the Ayatollah of rock and roll, Chris Jericho.
He is the highlight of the night every time he is on screen. It is the list. The list kills me. It cracks me up every single time. And I love when he goes to add someone and then something happens and he like scratches off Stephanie McMahon, or he adds people multiple times. He didn't add Kevin Owens, but he did. It's just pure brilliance. It goes back to, his list of wrestling moves from his WCW days, and it's
1001 holds.
Yeah.
One more than Dean Malenko.
Yeah, exactly. So
move number 74.
It's just incredible. It's literally probably my favorite Jericho run. I think it's my favorite Jericho run.
He's so funny that you can't help but laugh. It's like you have no choice. It's like you're tied up and it's like laugh and you have to, because it's just so funny. Like, obviously he had his run in 2008 where he was an amazing heel and had that incredible feud with Shawn Michaels. So, if you want to look at it in like a wrestling storyline way,
right,
that was his best run.
Right.
But in an entertainment way of looking at it, you can't deny this is the funniest thing ever that he's done. Every week he's laughing no matter what he says. And if you don't laugh, you're going to get it. You know what I mean?
Love him.
It's just so funny.
Well, I even liked when Ashton Kutcher was on Raw when he hosted with Danny Masterson, and they had their backstage thing, and then Ashton and Danny are finishing each other's sentences without talking and stuff, and he's trying to do it with Kevin Owens, but it's just the dynamic was so different. I just to be able to do that with actors, right, that aren't in the scene. That was cool too.
Well, okay, let's look at that backstage segment, right? So Jericho's setting up his "you're gonna get it" line. So he's like, "Oh, if you blah blah blah, then you're gonna get," and then he walks away, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's gonna come back and say it." But when he comes back, he came from the other side of the camera and then said it. So even just doing that made it funny.
Yeah.
Because he came out of nowhere that time.
Exactly.
Instead of just, goes off to the right, comes back from the right, goes off to the right, comes back from the left. And that makes it funny.
Well, that's just his years of experience. He is a funny guy. Like, you could just tell, even if you follow him on Twitter or, Instagram, etc., like, you can just tell that he's probably such a funny, like, person, like, in real life, like, without his character being on and all this other stuff. So it's really cool to see a lot of that coming out right now in his character on TV. I think that's pretty awesome.
Well, and he's good on Twitter, too. He's not, like, maybe Kevin Owens level of trolly, but
No,
he's
Kevin
funny,
Owens
too.
is the best troll
Kevin
on
Owens
Twitter.
is the king of Twitter.
Yeah, he is.
But Jericho's really funny, too. Like, I remember there was one tweet, I don't know, not that long ago, and someone was like, oh my god, I can't believe Jericho came to whatever town and made fun of our home team. That was so mean. I hate you, Jericho. Why did you do that? And then his response was, it's called being a heel, moron. Like, just flat out says it on. What show was it? What episode? Like, what were we watching? It was Raw or Smackdown, and I swear to God, they said something about, like, being a baby face or heel, like, live on TV.
Oh, they did. What did happen? No, wasn't it? What was it? I remember this. I remember we were like, wait, what? What did they just say? And then there was also talking about working.
Oh, yeah.
On Raw, between Rusev and Reigns. What was that when they called out the babyface thing?
I don't remember, but I just remember laughing so hard. They're like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, like...
They're kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit when they do stuff like that.
But it's funny because, like, a casual fan will have no idea what they said. They won't even think about it. But then the hardcore people or the people that know anything about terminology, they just start laughing, like I did. But I don't remember the segment, but I just remember they were like, oh, yeah, like... I think it might have been Ziggler. I think it was Ziggler, the Ziggler-Miz
thing
feud, which was good.
I think you're right. That was good.
And someone was like,
that
oh, yeah,
match
like...
That match
whether you're a heel or something like that. And then everybody's, like, on the internet started laughing, as did I.
Yeah, that was really good. Well, we've got a pay-per-view tonight. Actually, in about an hour and a half.
Yes, we do. And that pay-per-view is called Hell in a Cell. The yearly pay-per-view where they have to randomly book Hell in a Cell matches. Mm-hmm. So, we'll just go through the card quick and maybe give some predictions. This is a Raw branded pay-per-view. So, let's do it. So the first match, it's a 6-man tag match. And we are going to be seeing Cedric from the Cruiserweight division. Which is...
We didn't talk about the Cruiserweight division, but I actually really like it because I think that the people that they've chosen so far have a lot of personality that kind of shows. Like, they're not doing a lot of the high-flying stuff that you expected, but like TJ Perkins, his entrance, like, awesome. If you watch it and you can see, like, it says, like, you select TJ, but... you didn't select Brian Kendrick, and, like, all their names are kind of, like, all over his actual entrance video. But, like, the stuff that they're doing is amazing, and it's nice to see Brian Kendrick back, because I really am a big Brian Kendrick fan.
He's awesome.
He's amazing,
He's always been great.
He has.
Yeah. I mean, everyone was excited, even just when he was training Eva Marie.
Yeah.
Because they're like, man, if anyone can make Eva Marie amazing, more amazing than she already is.
Right.
Eva Marie cannot compete tonight due to...
Oh, God, that was so funny. Because I was like, wait, what? She wasn't suspended? What do you mean? What? What's happening? So, that was good booking right there.
Yeah, Brian Kendrick is awesome. And so are the other guys, Cedric Alexander and Tony Nese and, all those guys that they've got. And it feels like when there's a Cruiserweight match on, I feel like I'm watching a different show. That's how like, separate it is. It's like you'll never see Brian Kendrick run into Roman Reigns. It's like they're not even in the same building, which I like that.
I do too.
For 15, 20 minutes, just take a break from all the same nonsense that you've been watching and watch something new.
That's the one thing that's fresh. It's got like a Smackdown-esque feel to it because it feels totally different and new than what, we've been used to in the company for the last, I don't know how many years.
Too many. All right, so Cedric Alexander, Lince Dorado, and Sin Cara, which is kind of random, versus Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, and Arya Daivari, which is Daivari's brother.
So, my prediction I don't think that they're going to make the heels win this one. Because I feel like the second team is all heels. And I don't know if
Yeah.
that's just because I'm associating Davari to his brother, but realistically, natural born heel. So, like, just in his demeanor, like, you can
Hmm.
tell. Like, even when he first came out, like, at the beginning of the cruiserweight, um, like the
The
Cole
classic or
competition,
whatever. Yeah.
he had a heel character. So I don't know. I think that the first team's going to win with Sin Cara and everybody.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't look like it affects anything. It's just going to be
It
kind of a
doesn't.
fun opener. It's on the pre-show, so all right. We have a triple main event, but we'll get to that later. So since we're talking about the cruiserweights, we got T.J. Perkins defending the cruiserweight title against Brian Kendrick.
I think Brian Kendrick's going to
You
win
think he's going to win
tonight.
it this
I
time?
do. He's lost to TJ the past couple months, I guess. It's been about 2 months that they've been fighting kind of off and on. I think Brian Kendrick's going to do it tonight. I don't know if he's going to cheat to do it, probably, but I think he's going to win. I
Yeah.
hope so.
Yeah, I could see him winning, which would be good. Freshen it up a little.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, maybe they want to build TJ more, but I don't know what you do with Brian Kendrick if he's not fighting for the title. It'll be tricky. All right. Big Cass and Enzo versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson.
Okay. Gallows and Anderson. First of all, they broke up the club, which, whatever. I can't even believe that they did that. Secondly, they have not won anything at all. They got beaten by New Day every week, it feels like, for a year. They just haven't won any feuds whatsoever. Not that Cass and Enzo have really won anything either, because they kind of haven't. But Gallows and Anderson are from the club. They are big, scary dudes. They should be winning feuds, not losing to New Day, not losing to Enzo and Cass. So I think Gallows and Anderson, I hope that they are finally given their win.
Yeah, they really need something. I mean, Enzo and Big Cass, they can survive because they're over and they're fun. Everyone loves them. But Gallows and Anderson, they're trying to be a strong heel tag team,
Mm-hmm.
and they lose every match. I don't get it. I don't get what they're thinking. How can you get over if you just keep losing?
It's very frustrating because it diminishes who they are as characters and who they are in terms of what anyone knows about them from New Japan and etc. because they're not winning anything. So they went from being at the top with AJ and the club and beating up John Cena and all that stuff to literally losing every week. It doesn't make sense.
Yep. All right. Bailey versus Dana Brooke.
Hmm. This could go either way. I think that Dana needs the win more than Bailey does, because same kind of idea. Bailey's over. But I think that Bailey. I don't know. I feel like it kind of depends on who's going to win the other match.
Yeah.
So, like, if Charlotte wins the Hell in the Cell match, then I think that Bailey is going to win against Dana Brooke, or vice versa. Like, I think that really the two matches, in the end, their endings are going to relate to each other.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I'm going to say Bailey's going to win just because. Make the crowd happy. The New Day, which we don't know if it's going to be which two members, but let's assume Big E and Kofi like usual, versus Cesaro and Sheamus for the Raw Tag Team Championship.
Hmm.
Or should I say the WWE World Tag Team Champions?
Um, I feel like if anyone is going to take those titles from them, it's actually going to be Cesaro and Sheamus, especially because they're not getting along. So it's going to be one of those blooper type accidental wins where they don't realize that what's going on and they're fighting and a bro kick is aimed for Cesaro and it hits Big E and then they cover him and they win the belt. Like I feel like it's going to be one of those types of matches. Especially with how well they're doing the whole not getting along thing, like live Facebook feeds from the ring and ignoring each other and stuff. So I think Cesaro and Sheamus.
You think they're going to win the belts?
I hope so. It's time
Well,
for that. It's time for that reign to end.
I
As much as I like the New Day, it's time for that reign to
I
end.
feel like the New Day are still gonna win.
No! Who's going to be able to beat them?
They're gonna break the record, and then
They
they'll
did
lose the
break
next
the
day.
record.
Well, no, that they broke like the modern record, but Demolition has the real record,
Which is?
400 and I don't know, 400 and something.
Well, they're at 400 and something.
Yeah, it's like
So they're
470,
close?
480
I
something.
hope they're close at least.
They're
Because if it's still like another 3 months down the line, end it.
but then they'll have to have a new opening catchphrase. It won't be your clap for your 2-time champs.
Well, they'll still be the 2-time champs.
True. All right. And now it's time for the triple main event because WWE doesn't feel like telling us what the main event is.
Yeah, so they're going to decide it at random.
Okay. So Sasha Banks defending against Charlotte in the first ever Hell in a Cell match with women for the Raw Women's Championship.
Charlotte.
You think Charlotte's going
I
to win?
think Charlotte's going to win. She has 12 straight pay-per-view,
12 and
no
0.
losses. She's 12 and 0. I think that it makes more sense for her to win this type of match.
I really hope she wins, but I can also see Sasha winning just because.
It's Sasha, and she's the boss of something.
Yeah,
we don't
give
know
her-
what.
She's not injured, so the reason that she had lost was because they thought she was going to have a really bad injury. She was only gone for like a week, 2 weeks, and she was back. So like, oh, maybe I guess we didn't have to take the title off, and that's why she won it back. So maybe they can actually give her a somewhat lengthy reign and ruin Charlotte's perfect streak. Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship.
Oh.
Hell in a Cell.
This could go so many different ways. There could be a Triple H return. There could be a Jericho interference. There could be so many different factors affecting the outcome of this match. I don't know.
So you don't even know?
I don't know. I feel like it's going to look like Seth is going to win and Triple H is going to do something and cost Seth the match to further build up those two having some sort of a feud at some point. I don't know where it's going to be. I don't know if it's good. They're going to wait till WrestleMania, or if they're going to do it at Royal Rumble, or if they're going to do it at Survivor Series. Something's going to happen to influence the end of this match. I don't think it's going to end between just the two of them. I think that there's going to be some sort of an interference somehow, whether
Okay,
it's
so
music
who is it?
hitting or whoever.
What's your pick?
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens? I'm going to say Kevin Owens. All right. The real main event featuring the guy, Roman Reigns, defending the U.S. Championship in Hell in a Cell against Rusev. Who's going to win?
I think that it'll be Roman.
Obviously.
Um,
You know why it'll be Roman?
because he's Vince's guy.
Because he's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's the guy.
Yeah. I think that he needs the win a little bit more than Rusev does, but
Roman needs the win?
I'm just kidding.
Are you kidding me?
I wanted to see what you were gonna do. No, he doesn't need the
You know
win.
what? You know what you get for saying that?
What? No. No.
You know what, Christina?
No.
You just made the list.
Fantastic. I've always wanted to be on the list. No, I think that they're going to give Roman a little bit of a lengthy run with this one, just to try to test the crowd in terms of him being a champion again, and then see kind of how they can build him back up to being likable. So by facing Rusev, that's how they're trying to accomplish that, at least like phase one of that thing. But on a side note, how awesome was that segment on Raw when he was showing like Mama Rusev
Oh,
and
yeah.
like whatever and his dog
Papa
and
Rusev.
stuff. Yeah.
Brother Rusev.
It was so good. It was so good. But
That
yeah,
was
I
pretty
think
funny.
that Roman is going to win.
It's funny because his last name's not even actually Rusev.
Yeah,
So that
exactly.
like his whole family have gimmick names.
Yeah. And his dog. Fantastic. So,
Yeah, that's the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Should be an interesting one tonight. As Daniel Bryan said, what's that? How's that saying go? Because they have 3 Hell in a Cell matches. So on Talking Smack, he's like, what's the saying? More is more? What? Just totally saying how stupid it is the fact that they have to have 3 Hell in a Cell matches and none of the feuds are even. You could argue that the only feud that could actually, uh, that the Hell in a Cell match is meaningful for is the Sasha Charlotte
right.
one.
Yeah, because
Because
they
the
have
other
a
ones are just like
long-standing feud.
silly feuds,
They
nothing
are.
like whatever. Whereas you feel more like there's bad blood between.
I'm just really hoping that the Reigns and Rusev match is not the last match, because I don't think that deserves to be
No,
the
I don't
last
think
match.
no.
So I think that if
It's
you're
either
going
going
to
to
do
be
it should be the girls.
unless they were like crazy.
Yeah.
Then again, they did have Bray Wyatt and Randy as the last match.
How in the world did they not put Ziggler and The Miz as the main event? How? Like, that had main event, like, it had, suspense, because we didn't know whether Ziggler was done. It had, like, all this drama from, like, before. Like, why? Like, not that the Wyatt and Orton match wasn't good. It was. It was a really good match. But, once again, obviously, Bray never wins anything, so I don't know why. I don't even know why he has feuds. He really should just join up with
He
Anderson
won,
and
but
Gallows.
like it was, you didn't feel
but
like
the
he
feud
won.
isn't done. Like, it's not
Yeah.
done. Like, it's not like there's no like staying power for that, because then he just like disappears, and then they do a backstage promo, and then there's like nothing. Although
They need to stop those backstage. I don't want to see Bray Wyatt backstage anymore.
but I did
They
like
suck.
the casket thing.
Yeah, he's stealing
from a couple
Undertaker's
weeks
gimmick.
ago. Yeah, but that's okay.
No, they need to have Bray just. I don't even want to hear him talk. Every time he talks, I fall asleep. Or I just tune out everything. Because it's boring. Oh, Randy, you know why I'm doing this? Because I know you. And I know what you fear. No, you don't. Like, just be normal.
Exactly.
Just be like, I want to win the championship and be the best and stuff. Like everybody else. And that works perfectly fine. It doesn't work with his character. That's why The Undertaker stopped talking after. Like, towards the end of his like career, he's still active, or somewhat active. But, he doesn't talk. Rarely. And it's just enough words to make a sentence that at the end he can say, you know why? Because at WrestleMania you will rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Enough to give him a
Bray Wyatt
tagline.
like, what's his catchphrase? Follow the buzzards. It doesn't even. I don't even want to rant on it. That's how much like it bothers me that it's not even worth ranting. That's how much I hate it.
I know.
He needs to just be like more normal. And they keep, oh yeah, Bray's gonna go his own separate way. Oh, here comes Eric Rowan. Oh yeah, oh no, Eric Rowan, he's gone. Bray's gonna go a separate way. He's gonna be a big single star. Here comes Luke Harper.
But
okay.
Harper got quite a pop when he returned.
Yeah, because he's amazing. He's the best Wyatt.
Love him.
He's the best
so
Wyatt.
Good.
He should be the leader. He always has good matches. He always does something cool.
Bray's good in the ring, though. He is. He's good in the ring. They just need to give him the right storyline with the right person. So whether it's him versus Harper, I don't care. Just give me something. Give me something meaningful to prove why they were creepy, scary, and like they came and they were like creepy, and they had this whole thing like with like New Day went to like their field or whatever it was. And, like, that was scary.
They were just trying to copy the final deletion.
Yeah, exactly.
Delete.
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 But, like, seriously. Anyway, somehow we went on a tangent. But we'll see what the outcome is of the pay-per-view tonight. And then the next time we podcast with Brad, then we'll discuss the main pay-per-view outcomes. Do you want to talk about our special announcement?
Okay, so we promised earlier at the show that we were going to have a special announcement to make. And that announcement is that when we are unable to do podcasts with Brad, which we will be calling those podcasts in the future Super Squared Circle podcasts. In the meantime, we're going to attempt to do weekly or at least bi-weekly podcasts that kind of recap what's been happening on the weekly shows, Raw, SmackDown, little NXT if we can. Basically, just keep the podcast active in between the big pay-per-views, and just so that we can have some more content for you guys.
Yeah, so in case you weren't aware, we do have a Facebook page. It is the Squared Circle Podcast on Facebook, so check us out. Like the page and follow us for any little updates, or sometimes we'll post like interesting articles or videos, etc. So there is actually images that were posted today by TSN in Canada about a match that happened in NXT between Shinsuke Nakamura and Austin Aries, and the injuries that resulted from that match, which are gruesome, but just shows, King of Strong Style, how hardcore he is. So things like that we're going to want to share with you guys and get your feedback on. And we also post the links to our podcast through the website on Facebook, or you can also check us out on iTunes, the Squared Circle Podcast. Follow us, subscribe to the podcast. Please comment, like, and share, and let us know your feedback on things that you want to hear us talk about, or what you want more of. Any feedback is most appreciated.
So that about does it then.
I think so.
Yeah, so make sure to check out all our pages, and we'll hope to see you in the coming weeks with the new mini weekly Square Circle podcast.
Yeah, it's like the cruiserweight division of podcasts.
Exactly.
So with that, guys, enjoy Hell in the Cell tonight, and we will see you next time.
Later.
Ciao.